Kia ora, Helen from Secondary Live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1336. Yes, I did remember to change it. No rest and relaxation today. Today it was go, 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 go. Although I didn't get to bed till after midnight again. This is one of the side effects from COVID. It's turned me into a night person, and I don't like that. I still want to get back to the morning. So my alarm's set for 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, 5:07 tomorrow morning, and I am determined to get up when the alarm clock goes off and start my day. I am going to force this issue. We will see if it works. But anyway, so I ended up getting up around just after 8, I think it was. So I kind of was sleeping because I didn't have Zeffie to worry about because she was at the dog sitters. She's now home. And then it was a day of, I kind of had the day sort of planned to like go get the mail. Wanted to go to Trader Joe's to see if they have my dark chocolate ginger. Now, everybody goes looking at dark chocolate ginger. Yeah, they come in little balls, not the cakes of chocolate, cakes of dark chocolate with the ginger in it. It does not have enough ginger. There is barely any ginger in some of the ones that I have seen. But these are little dark chocolate balls that have crystallized ginger on the inside. I love them. And when we were living in LA, Whole Foods and Trader Joe's carried them. And they came in the little plastic containers. And then for some reason, Whole Foods stopped carrying them. It's like, damn it. But Trader Joe's kept carrying them, and I was able to get them from there for years. It's been a while since I've been to a Trader Joe's. So I thought, well, I'll stop at a Trader Joe's because I just had this hankering for my dark chocolate ginger. I also thought I'd take myself out for lunch. But of course, by the time I got myself ready to go, it was like heavy lunchtime. I had a 95-page contract to read through for the house. It's a sample of the contract. They still got to go in and fill in the blanks. But it gives you some idea what's coming in the contract. So I've got that ready to send off to the lawyers tomorrow just for them to put their eyeballs on it as well. But I had a couple of questions, so I've sent them off. Let's see, what else did we do? So I went out, got the mail, and then drove back, and I thought, and I kept going to, I'll go here for lunch, or I'll go there for lunch. And then I realized it's like 12 o'clock, busy lunchtime. And I don't know what they've got going on in Surprise this weekend, but there's been some event over by the Civic Center this weekend. So it looks like a fair or something, because I kind of got a little late yesterday when I was heading out for my first appointment for the house hunting. Because the thing told me to go down this road. So I went down this road. We come to the sign. It says, road closed, go this way. And I ended up doing this great big circular route to get around it. But it looked like there was some sort of fair going on. They had like the midway section with all the rides and stuff that I could see. And I thought, didn't know about that. Okay. I need to get on the events calendar. So I started like looking for places to go, and I thought, I'll go here. I haven't been to Red Robin for a while. Maybe I could go there and do this, and I could sit there and read the contract. And I was like, got to Red Robin, and I thought, there's a lot of cars there. Their patio area was like packed. There were people waiting at the door, and I'm like, yeah, no. Because the other suggestion they would have is if there's a bar store, go sit at the bar. And I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to sit in a booth with my paperwork and read. So then I thought, I got to pick up something at Office Depot. So I went over there, and they didn't have what I needed. So I'm walking through the store. They didn't have what I needed. So I hopped on Amazon. They had it, ordered it, walked out the door. And so I went to Office Depot to order stuff off Amazon and then left. And I thought, there's that breakfast and lunch place that's in the same shopping center. Let me go try that. Cars everywhere. Couldn't find a place to park. Right, we're out of here. And then as I was getting ready to leave, there's an Applebee's there. Their parking lot was full as well. I was like, whatever. So I got on the road, went down to Trader Joe's and got there and got in. And I was sort of like, and I haven't been to Trader Joe's in I don't know how long. But got in there, and like several feet in the door, they had one of those people standing there with samples. And it was blueberry and lemon. It was a blueberry and lemon pastry. And so I got one of their little samples. It was so good. I'm like standing there going, damn, now I have to get one. So I got these pastries, and there's 2 in the box, and you just heat them up. She said, you just heat them up a little bit, and then put some ice cream on it. And I'm like, Yeah, not sure. But went around, got a couple of things that I picked up, a couple of things that I needed. Went down the frozen aisle, because when you go down the frozen aisle, if you've never been to a Trader Joe's, they have stuff above the freezers, and then they have shelves above there. And in one section, they have all the chocolate, dark chocolate covered or milk chocolate covered almonds and pretzels and espresso beans and everything except ginger. I walked up and down that aisle 4 times to double check to make sure I did not miss no ginger. They had mint, they had almonds, they had espresso beans, they had sea salt caramels, they had pretzels. Oh, and peanut butter cups. That was the other thing that they had. And no ginger. I was like, damn it. So now I've got to find a place that has the dark chocolate crystallized ginger balls. So I'm going to see if there's another Trader Joe's around in the area somewhere that I can go visit and see if they have them, because it could just be that particular one. So I picked up some stuff for meals and things too. Picked up some ice cream, which is made with coconut milk, which I thought, I'm going to try. And it's chocolate ice cream made with coconut milk. And I thought, I haven't had ice cream for a while. Made with coconut milk? I'm in. Picked up a quiche. And what else did I get? What was the other thing I got? Oh, I also had dark chocolate cherries, because I got me another pack of them too. And they were the containers bigger than what I get from Sprouts, and they were like $3 cheaper than Sprouts. And I'm like, I know where I'm going to get my dark chocolate cherries from now on. I say I love them, but got a quiche, got those little pastry things. There's something else I got from the frozen section. Oh, I got the pub pies. If you've never seen the pub pies, they're about this round. They stand about this tall, and they're really good. And so I got a couple, and they were all frozen as well. So and as I'm driving home, I'm like, oh, do I have room in my freezer for these? I got them in the freezer. Took some creative playing Tetris. See, packing, if you're really good at Tetris, you can pack. You can pack anything. You can get suitcases into trunks of cars. You can get stuff in the freezer. You can pack. If you're really good at Tetris, you are good at packing. Just as a heads up. So I got them in the freezer. I was like, yay. Very happy about that. And I did have to take out some meat, but I thought, well, that's okay, because I can put it in the fridge overnight, and then it'll be dinner tomorrow night. And it's some fillets that are wrapped in bacon. So I haven't had those for a while. So yeah, they'll go on the grill tomorrow, and on my George Foreman grill tomorrow. But so after I got home, heated up the little individual quiche. I've got a bigger one as well that'll do a couple of meals. But heated up the little individual quiche and kept reading through, because I had actually kept reading through this 95-page contract, and pulled out a couple of questions. I've sent them off to my friend who's helping me with all the house hunts. She's got the paperwork on her end ready to go. She just needs the okay to push the button. I submitted the renovations request, because you can request to have like the carpet replaced, or you don't get to choose. They just do neutral. But if the carpet is in really good condition, they may not replace it. And I was like thinking, well, these are people that smoke, and they have at least one dog, possibly more, judging by the number of dog beds that were around, and and there was a couple of different food bowls around as well. So at least one dog. And dogs have accidents in houses, and it gets down into the carpet and the underlay and that sort of stuff. But we also requested it be painted, and I had 2 paint options, and so there was something grey and then the silver plate, and I chose the silver plate one that looked nicer to me. And it fits with my winter color palette. For those that are into colors that look good on you. And so, yeah, that was really exhausting. And sent over a couple of questions to Ashley as well. But it looks like this could be the one that we're going to go after. And if it's the right one, we'll get it. And based on when the offer is accepted, there's like a 4 to 6 week time period to moving in, or is it the date I don't remember. There's a date thing that comes in that when this particular thing happens, your move-in date's like 4 to 6 weeks after that. So 4 to 6 weeks will put me at the end of April. 6 weeks will put me into May. So we will see how that goes, because I'm trying to avoid having to pay storage fees in May, but that may not happen. So But it was a good day. And then Zeffie got dropped off around 4 o'clock, and she didn't know what to do. She wanted to go with her dog sitter. She wanted to stay with me, but she was all excited out there and everything else. So we came inside. We do have a bark box for her to open, but I'm just sort of like, I have no energy to deal with a bark box tonight. So sometime in the next couple of days, we will be doing a live on opening the bark box. And this will be her March box. And that's basically it. Zeffie's already gone to bed, and this is my paperwork has been submitted for the house. So it is all systems go. If it is meant to happen, everything will go through beautifully. So yeah. So that was Ashley just to tell me that the paperwork's submitted. Yay! So we'll keep you guys updated on that and what happens and everything else. So but I'm super excited about this move. If it's, I mean, I went to sleep last night, like planning where furniture was going to go in each room, what furniture I needed for each room, what furniture I recall that I have, and how am I going to use it, what furniture do I, and so I have a list of, this is, like definite first thing that we have to buy will be a bed for me to sleep in for my room. That's definitely the first thing. And if it's the box space, with the mattress on top on the floor for now, and then we get a frame later on, that works for me too. I also have a futon mattress that I want to get for when we're out in the living room, that we can also use as a spare bed as well. So it could be that comes first and I sleep in it in a sleeping bag. Won't be the worst thing I've ever done. Worst place I've slept. That would be on a mountain. Back in my boot camp days, on a mountain in army cots. Yeah. Even though I was in the Air Force, I was still called army cots. So I've got a list of furniture, and I thought, I need to get a desk as well. I'm like, no. And storage, I have a couple of those 6-foot long folding tables. And I thought, for now, they will do while I figure out how I want to lay out the rooms. So I've been thinking in my head, that I have my entertainment center thing, so I know where that's going to go. I've got I've got a 3-seater couch and a 2-seater couch. So I know kind of where they're going to go. It's going to interrupt the flow to get out the back door, but that's the way it is. And then I thought, where would I put my recliner? I thought, I'll put my recliner in the bedroom, in the corner, so that I've got somewhere to sit, and because I like to sit with my feet up and do my morning devotions and meditations and that sort of thing there. And I have that little area there, so it's keeping the calm and the serenity of the bedroom and peacefulness of that. And I have this really cool armchair which I've had for years, and we bought it from a secondhand furniture place for like $80, and we had Gus at the time, and we'd had Gus maybe a week. So this is back in 2004. That's how long I've had this chair. We had Gus for maybe a week, or it might have been less than a week, and we'd left him alone in the house. And we come back, and Brad and I carry the chair inside. And I'm walking backwards. We put the chair down, and Gus is already in the chair. Like, this is mine. And it became known as Gus's chair. And I thought that would be really cool, because we have a very long, when you walk in the front door, it's a very long room. That goes, so you got the front door and the back door are like in alignment with each other, and so we'll get the nice cross breezes going through the house. But it's a very long room, and there's an area for a dining area, and then there's like the space, and then you got the area for the family room, or the great room, or the gathering room, or the living room, whatever you want to call it. And so I thought that area to break it up would be like a really cool little reading nook, and I could put the armchair there and I thought, no, I'm not going to put a bookcase there. I'm going to do like a hutch that has a bookcase on top of it. So it kind of has a different feel, and that's where all my cookbooks will sit as well. So I've been planning all of this, and I'm writing down all these ideas as I go along. So I know what furniture I already have. And I have an oak buffet that was in the garage, but I don't want to leave it in the garage in Arizona heat, because it will dry it out. It's a beautiful oak buffet. So I may end up putting that there, and then finding a bookcase that kind of matches or complements it or something, and putting that on top of the buffet, the oak buffet, and and using that as the bookcase stuff. So, and I'd have to figure out what to do with all the tools that are inside. So I was talking with my mum and dad last night because they're asking about the house. I said, can you get on Zoom? And so we got on Zoom. I shared the screen. I was showing them through the house, talking about what we'd seen, what we hadn't seen, what needed doing, and that sort of thing. And so I showed them all through the house and all that. They thought it was pretty cool. They were quite happy with it. And then I said to Dad, you know, remember that oak buffet thing that we purchased and you made the top for it so I could use it as a workbench? And he's like, yeah. I said, yeah, that won't be going in the garage because of the heat in Arizona. I said, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to put it right now, but as I was talking with you guys, I figured it out. I said, but here's something interesting. I said, when they packed it up, they put the moving blanket over and then just walked around it with, you know, that saran wrap stuff, that plastic, clingy plastic stuff that they use for packing, and wrap this whole thing in thing. I said, but what they didn't do is they did not remove the power saw, the drills, all the other power tools that were in there, nor did they, and from the cupboards, nor did they clear out any of the tools that were in any of the drawers, which were chisels and screwdrivers and pliers and wrenches and what else was in there? I don't remember. And I said, and there was times that they were like moving, they'd like tip it up on its end and you'd hear clunk, 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 clunk. And they would wheel it to wherever they wanted, and then they'll put it back down again. You'd hear clunk, 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 clunk. I said, so I don't know what it's doing to the tools. And my dad was sort of like, well, I'm not worried about the tools. He said, I've been more worried about what it's doing to the inside of the cabinet. So, once I get that in place, the tools will be coming out of there, and I'll find something. That's another thing going on the thing, is something to put the tools in out in the garage. So, because the garage is like it will be completely empty or bare. All the garages we'd seen to this point, most of them had like cabinets and stuff in there, and one of them had across the front, the back of the garage had a workbench, and then it had, and with cabinets underneath, and then it had the cabinets on either side. I thought that's a really cool setup, but they had no vise on the. My dad always has a vise on his workbench. They're very good, those heavy vise things that you need to use to hold things in places. But I didn't notice a vise there, which I thought was interesting. But anyway, so it's planning that maybe we'll put some cabinets in there. Maybe I'll find something else that I can put out there to use as a workbench and keep all my power tools and my hand tools in there. And I know there are times that I call them thingamajigs and whatchamacallits and that sort of thing. I do kind of know my tool names, but the important thing is I know how to use them. I wanted to spend time with my dad. You spend it out in the garage. And plus, when I was in middle school, we would spend 6 months of the year doing home ec and clothing. Which in the home ec class was learning to cook and learning to do basic sewing. And the second half of the year, you were in the woodwork shop learning how to use all the woodworking tools and making different things. I think I still have a bottle opener somewhere, which is a piece of wood with a screw on it. And I carved a little design into it, stained it in shoe polish, and it became a thing for that. My parents to this day, I was, let's see, this would have been 45 years ago that I made this little step stool. It's 2 pieces of wood this way, piece of wood this way, and it's got the edging around it. It's all screwed in and all that. I never stained it. I know it's just plain. I know it's plain wood. I don't know if my dad went ahead and stained it afterwards or not, but my parents still have that little step stool that I made when I was 11 years old. And if you just did the math, yes, I am 56. So when I was 11 years old, I made this little step stool that my parents to this day still have, and they still use it. And that was 45 years ago, that little stool. I don't know if it's been stained since, painted, or anything else. Might check when I go down there in December. That's on my list to do for December, is to check that. But yeah, so they've still got that little stool that I made. And another thing I made was a little tank, and it had like the side pieces which were meant to be, and it was all made out of wood. So we had the wooden tracks on each side, we had a wooden body, and then we had a little dowel sticking up at the top there, and then we made the little turret, which was a square piece of wood with a hole in the middle, and then you had a piece of dowel coming out to be, and you just put it on there and you could spin it around. And at some point I wrote, again, something else I didn't finish stating, at some point I wrote it on like a telephone keyboard thing, and would use it and the square piece would be your earpiece, and you're talking to the end. What can I say? I've got a good imagination. That was my little telephone in my room. So yeah, so we would spend like 6 months a year in the wood workshop. Actually, yeah, half the year in the wood workshop and half the year in the home ec room where we did cooking and sewing. Even the boys, there was no discrimination. Didn't matter if you were male or female or whatever. If you were assigned to do home ec and cooking and sewing, you were in that class and you were learning the basics. When it got to the woodworking side, when it got to the next half of the year, you went and did the woodworking. And at the same time, there was another class in there doing woodworking who would then come in and do cooking and sewing for the second half of the year. So it didn't matter if you were male or female or whatever, you had to do these two classes. They were required classes. It was part of middle school, and you did them for 2 years. So, you got to, and then when you got to high school, all the ones in the first year of high school had to do home economics. And home economics wasn't just learning to cook. It was, how do you set a table? What are the correct manners to use when you're at a table? How do you do a budget? How do you make a shopping list? How do you make a grocery list? How do you do your budget? How do you balance your checkbook? We even did that, how to balance a checkbook. So it wasn't just teaching you cooking, you were learning about the home at the same time. We were even taught how to do laundry. And at the end of any cooking sessions, there was a roster up. So when we finished cooking, all the linens had to go in one place, and then there were people responsible for going into the laundry area of the classroom and putting the laundry on. And then at the end of the next class, and then, like if you're the first class there, you put the laundry on. And then at the end of the second class, they'd take the laundry out of the washing machine and go and hang it on the lines outside. Yes, we had clotheslines with pegs that you would hang everything up with, and then they would put the second load of laundry on. And that was just this rotating thing all day. And the third class would have to bring in the laundry from outside because it would be dry by then, hang out the next load of laundry. And yeah, so they had this whole rotation system going on. And we had to learn how to create menus for a week for a family, how to work out what the shopping list was, what was our budget. So all of these different life skills that you need when you leave home, we got them in school and they were required, which was kind of cool. So I did learn how to use tools, and if I needed to spend time with my dad, I was in the garage spending time with him. And it may have been on fixing a car. I mean, I learned how to use a strobe light and do the timing on the car, and I learned how to use those little flat key thingies for spark plug, for putting the distance in spark plugs. I learned how to do an oil change and how to change the oil filter. Before my mum and dad would let me, or before my dad would give me the keys to the car once I purchased it from them, I had to show that I could change a tire. I didn't need it for another 20 years. But it all, it was life skills that we were taught, and it was a lot of fun. And, spending time in the garage with my dad was awesome. I loved doing that, spending time out there with him. If he's out there fixing something, I'm like, what are you doing? And he'd show me what he was doing. And one time, the last time that I was down there with Brad, which was 2006, I think it was. You think it was 2006? Yeah, that would be about right. Yeah. No, yes, 2006, because it was my 40th. My dad had Brad down in the, you were there for Christmas 2006 into 2007. And my dad had Brad down in his workshop, and and my dad was doing a lot of wood turning at the time. And he got Brad on the lathe and showed Brad how to turn wood and had Brad turning wood. And Brad made this little tiny goblet that's about this big and about this round. And a little bowl, and I still have those to this day. I don't have them in the RV with me. They're packed with all the wood turning, all the bowls that my dad had given me over time for stuff that he had turned. So they're all packed away right now, and I'll be able to use them again. Yay! And so Brad was looking at doing wood turning classes, and I said to him, I says, why aren't you, and I finally pushed him into doing the wood turning classes, and he found a class that he could do on Wednesday evenings on the way home from work. Which meant he wouldn't get home till like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, that's okay. I have no problem with you doing late night classes and stuff. And he had his new glasses by then, because that was one of the concerns, because he was getting so close to seeing what he was doing. He needed new glasses. So he got the new glasses. And he was all set up to start at the end of January, beginning of February of 2008. Oh, no, hang on. Sorry, it's going to be starting in the middle of, like around the 14th, 15th, around the middle of the month in February is when the classes were going to start. And he was really looking forward to them because he could finish work, drive through Springfield on his way home, stop off to his class and get home like around 10:30 at night. And it was a once a week class. And so he was really looking forward to that. And then come the 21st of January, 2008, and he was diagnosed with cancer. So with that diagnosis, he called up the school. It was only like a week or two to go before they started, and explained the situation to them, and explained he had to cancel because he didn't know what treatment was going to do or anything else. And they were very good and refunded him all of his money and everything else. So he never really got to learn to do wood turning, but he did have that session with my dad, which was kind of cool. So yeah, looking forward to getting into a house. The RV living has been good for the last 4 years. It has served its purpose, and now it is time for the next evolution. So we are looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see Seffi running around the backyard. At first, she'll probably just like trot around and go to the edge of the fence and just follow the fence the whole way around and around the edge of the house, because that's what she does in a dog park. When she gets to a dog park, she kind of goes, runs over to some of the other dogs, says hello, and then runs over to the fence line and does a complete circuit. As long as I'm standing in the middle of the park, I have to be standing in the middle of the park by then. And then she does a complete circuit around the entire park, sniffing around the fence line. So when we get her out in the backyard, I'm going to have to follow her so she goes down the sides of the house, because she always likes to keep me in view. So if she goes down the side of the house, she'll lose sight of me. So we'll fix that. I'll just follow her over there and see what she's doing. But then she'll have the freedom to run around in the backyard, and I can't wait to see her do that. Anyway, I'm rambled on long enough. So it's all systems go right now. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. And I have something really cool to show you tomorrow night that I can't show you tonight, so you'll have to wait. Sorry. So have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hey, konera.